And I want to turn it now to Izumi. Izumi, you have a wonderful story, and we are excited to hear that and learn more about your creation. So take it away. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Can everyone hear me? Okay, so hello everyone and happy International Women's Day. My name is Izumi Kyle from CDW Canada, and I am beyond excited to be part of Logitech's Ignite Your Passion event. I can't think of a better phrase that describes what I've personally experienced since the summer of 2020. As you all know, it was a challenging year for many, including myself. But as artist Morgan Nichols says, going through things you never thought you'd go through will only take you places you'd never thought you'd get to. So in the now less than 15 minutes, I'm honored to share with you the Arumi story, a journey that unfolded unexpectedly, a journey that reconnected me to my Japanese heritage, and a journey that ignited my passion to design and make meaningful jewelry. It all began in Home Depot, aisle 17 in June 2020. My husband and I were picking up some materials for a deck project when I stumbled across aluminum fasteners hanging on a wall and bolts of cable wire just below them. These materials, typically used for boating and for supporting things in tension, immediately caught my eye. I was instantly attracted to the fasteners' silvery white luster and their different shapes and sizes. I threw a few packages in our cart as well as 3 feet of cable wire, thinking, I'm going to try to make a necklace with these industrial materials tonight. Sure enough, that evening, using rusted metal cutters and a very unsophisticated crimping methodology, I created my first necklace. As you can see, it was archaic with a random jumbled pattern, but nonetheless, I was excited. I took a photo of it and sent it to my sisters, texting, I think I'm onto something. That same week, I went back to Home Depot, but not for more deck materials, but for more fasteners, cable wire, and proper cutting and crimping tools. I couldn't wait to try again and make more necklaces. I decided to name these creations Arumi, both for its dual Japanese meanings, but also it has the same letters as my mother's name, maiden name, Miura, Miura. That late summer, my sisters and I found out that my mother had terminal cancer. She was a strong-willed, vibrant, and cultured woman from Tokyo who was well ahead of her times. She left for Japan for America in her early 20s at a time when foreign travel, let alone as a single woman, was quite remarkable. She was on a swimming tour, and while on tour, fate would have it that she would meet my father in Boston. She was undeniably the rock of our family, and growing up, she taught us about Japanese language, food, and culture. Despite pandemic complications, we came together as a family and took turns to care for our mother as best we could. While I was mentally and physically exhausted during this, the weekends were my paradise. My kitchen became a pop-up studio, and with boundless energy, I worked tirelessly on more Arumi creations. It was no doubt a well-needed distraction and an escape and diversion from reality. Knowing that she was getting weaker and weaker, I wanted to make an Arumi creation in my mother's honor. She loved flowers and was a passionate gardener, so I had an idea to create a necklace that symbolized a flower in motherhood. There bloomed Hana, a piece where the fasteners mimic flowing petals, and a sterling silver link in the center represents the pistil or seed-bearing part of a plant. It was the first piece where I made the connection between meaning and form. I showed it to my mother and she smiled with approval from her bedside. Then came more inspired designs, such as Mira in honor of an encouraging friend, Monique, a music-inspired piece named after a concert pianist, and finally Toshi, which reflects the elements of the urban city of Toronto. In November, after a courageous battle, my mother passed away. During the period I grieved her death, my jewelry style shifted to Japanese-inspired symbols, forms, and ideas. I reconnected with my Japaneseness and was flooded with memories of Japan, a place I called home briefly when I was a child. The koi, or carp, is a revered fish in Japan, known for its fighting spirit, resilience, and strength. On May 5th every year, the Japanese celebrate Kodomo no Hi, or Children's Day. On this day, many houses fly koi nobori, or brightly colored koi flags to celebrate family unity, respect, and appreciation of family members. In my family, there are 4 girls: Nozomi, Izumi, Megumi, and Ayumi, all of us born within 5 years. To this day, we each have fond memories of seeing koi nobori flying high above houses and participating in Children's Day festivities. The Arumi koi creations mimic the free-flowing movement of koi flags and are made with stainless steel and aluminum fasteners, materials that are strong and resilient against the harshest of elements, just like koi. Inso is an iconic circle from form in Japanese art. It's often hand-drawn with 2 uninhibited brushstrokes to express a moment of time when the mind is free to let the body create. It also symbolizes the circle of life, perfection, and enlightenment. The bottom left piece is a multi-enso creation, which has an inner enso to represent those in one's inner circle, with the center bead representing oneself. A separate outer enso represents all others who surround and influence one's life. The top right piece has 2 enso, different in shape and color, yet connected to each other. This reflects the spirit of harmony, but also the uniqueness of each partner within a given relationship. These next pieces were inspired by origami, the art of folding paper. Hoshi, which means star in Japanese, you'll see that in the bottom right piece, I created one called Arumi Hoshi. And it's actually made of several folded 5-point stars, and it honors the hidden stars of the world, from our frontline workers to those who have faced and overcome the most difficult of challenges. The folded stars aren't apparent when you wear this piece, but just like hidden stars, if you look a little closer and from a different perspective, you'll be able to uncover many right before your eyes. Unfortunately, folding stainless steel wire is not as easy on the hands as folding origami paper. Working and making jewelry can be taxing on one's hand. So I want to take this moment to thank Logitech personally for their wonderful ergonomic solutions. They really make a difference and play a huge role in saving my hands, as well as my wrist, neck, and back, so I can comfortably work and effectively work during the work week, but also on my Arumi designs on weekends. The next creations are called Arumi Shoji. These were born from the idea of leveraging Morse code patterns to spell a meaningful word or name. In Japan, shoji is a sliding screen which not only divides space, but also acts to conceal or reveal something hidden, like a beautiful garden in the back. Some examples of shoji necklaces I've made include one for a neighbor. She was celebrating her 80th birthday, and she asked me to make one that spelled Alex. She wanted to celebrate her milestone birthday while commemorating her daughter's memory. And so she wore my necklace at her big birthday bash. And I've also made one that spells Tamiko. Unbeknownst to her friends, who know her as Trisha, Tamiko is her Japanese name. And finally, I've made a piece for myself. and it spells gambaro. It's a Japanese saying that my mother used to always tell us girls. While there's no direct translation, it roughly means try your best with all your might and never give up. After designing shoji necklaces, I wanted to design a shoji bangle. Its design didn't come easy, as A, I had to figure out how to correctly pattern the fasteners so that the Morse code patterns read from left to right, and B, I had to figure out how to connect two end pieces aesthetically so they appear as one continuous bangle. At first, it seemed as difficult as solving a Rubik's Cube, but I was passionate and committed to figuring it out. After all, I had watched my son figure out and master the Rubik's Cube, so I figured, Mom's got this. After several days of practice and many trial and errors, I figured out the patterning rules and came up with the idea of threading a transition bead in between two crimped ends so they seamlessly appear as one continuous bangle. This exercise was truly like figuring out and solving a puzzle. And finally, I wanted to share with you the most recent Arumi idea, one that is perhaps fitting for this International Women's Day celebration. For centuries, chainmail, or kusari in Japanese, have been worn to protect men from being killed in battle. For samurai, kusari was incorporated into their armor to protect vital body parts, such as the neck and wrists, from the enemy's sword. The cravat, on the other hand, was popularized in France in the 17th century. It was worn by soldiers and as an accessory now known as the modern tie. Marrying these two concepts, both typically worn by men, I designed what I like to call protective tie jewelry and bangle for women. I still have so many more ideas brewing in my head, and I can't wait to develop them. Since that fateful day almost 2 years ago at Home Depot, I no longer underestimate the power of passion. If something sparks your interest, don't overlook it. I encourage you to grab it, explore it, and let the magical powers of passion unleash not only your potential, but outcomes you never thought existed. Thank you very much, Logitech, for this opportunity to share with you the stories and journey behind Arumi Creations.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. What beautiful, amazing jewelry. The chat was just going crazy with how many people just loved your work. And not just loved your work, but your passion for it and the stories behind it. Just wow. Thank you so much. It was amazing. Really, really appreciate it.